photos, and then there's a record button.
Oh.
I want to make sure I'm not like taking 50 pictures of myself.
That's the whole thing.
Okay. I think I'm good.
Alright. Now let me just one more like hair fix.
That should just be our intro, is like us like slow-mo hair flipping and laughing at the camera.
Oh my god, right. If I ever make like a
Three's Company,
like an outtakes
like 70s
reel, it's gonna be that. Okay, we need to start.
Okay, let's go. Don't waste film.
Okay, 3, 2, 1. Hey! Video broadcast. So I have been wow, alright. A couple of weeks ago we had like bug people come into our apartment. And not because we had bugs, but because they were doing a preliminary thing where they were trying to keep bugs from coming in. This is annoying in itself.
Prevention.
Yeah, oh my god. This is annoying in itself, and the fact that, like, we had bugs before and they didn't do anything about it, and now they're coming in like, oh, we're gonna prevent you from having bugs. Like, fuck you. Like, I already had bugs and you wouldn't deal with it, and now you're... But anyway, so I guess they were trying to do this prevention shit for, like, cockroaches or something. And, so they come into the kitchen and they're like, okay, well, you know, they leave us a fucking flyer on the door, because whatever. And there's like this list of things you have to do depending on the bug they're coming in for. Mm-hmm. And so for cockroaches, you had to take everything off the shelves in your kitchen, everything off the counters, all the cabinets empty. I'm flailing my hands around. And then you also have to do that in the bathroom, which is like, okay, whatever, that's fine. My roommate and I, one of my roommates and I share a bathroom, and we don't have a lot in there. It was not a big deal. But the part of the story that's entertaining comes from the kitchen part. So we had to take all of our stuff out of the kitchen, and I think I've talked about this in the podcast before. I have 2 roommates. And so, you know, we took our shit out of the kitchen.
Sorry, right. I got excited because I know I texted you that Fabio's a U.S. citizen, but I was thinking how you prank your roommate with like Fabio and this funny cutouts, and then I got excited that Fabio was a citizen again.
My god, yeah, so side story. My roommate Jamie and I like to prank our roommate Eric.
Follow him on Twitter.
And one time oh my god, Eric's Twitter will be in the description. And one time when he was gone, we put a cutout of Fabio in his in the shower, because he's in like the master bedroom, so it has its own bathroom, which like whatever. Thank God. And so we put like this cutout of Fabio in his shower, so when he opened the shower, Fabio would be like hanging out, like ready to party.
Ready to party.
So that's why Marissa's laughing about Fabio. But so all of us take our shit out of the kitchen, and this is fine, whatever, and it's an inconvenience because we have to leave the house for like, I think from 9 to 4, I think I said, I don't remember, was it 9 to 4? I think so. And, you know, which is not a big deal except for the fact that I had like a million things to do for school, and I was like in the middle of Hell Week, and I really didn't have the time to be like not able to work on stuff. So we leave the house, whatever, all of our shit is like on the living room floor because we don't have anywhere else to put it. And we get back and we put our stuff away, but Eric's not here. You know, he wasn't here because he was in
on a trip or something.
San Diego. I think he was like he was visiting his cousin, I think, in San Diego. But so, and when he gets back, his cousin came with him, which is a whole separate story. But so his like stuff was in this pile on like the living room floor forever, basically. Like, I think it was there for, you know, and I'm not saying he's a bad person because of this, but it was just entertaining because
it wasn't proper roommate etiquette.
Because instead of like, you know, going to the kitchen and making food, he'd be like in the kitchen making food. And then he'd be like, oh, I need something, and would go into the living room, like, to get something out of the thing on the floor. I was like, you're making this so inconvenient for yourself. Like, why wouldn't you just put it all away, and then you don't have to keep walking back and forth from the kitchen? And it wasn't like it really bothered me that much because it wasn't really in the way of anything. Like, it wasn't in the way of, you know, us walking or anything, but it was just, like, so funny to watch because he'd be, like, making a meal, and I was like, what are you doing? He'd be like, oh, I'm just getting, you know, my oatmeal or, like, whatever on the floor in the living room.
College, man.
I was like, what is the point of this? Like, why? Oh, God. Yeah, it was just, like, it was just really funny. Yeah, but I was updating Marissa on, like, the progress of it, because every now and again something would, like, end up in the cabinet, and it was just...
You were like, snap me updates?
Yeah, I would. Yeah, it was really funny. If we had more viewers, I would put my Snapchat, but not worth it. Everybody that watches this damn podcast, all one of you has my Snapchat already.
Yeah.
You know who you are. But...
But do you think Fabio was here on a really long work visa? Because he's been here, like, a long time.
I guess so, right?
Because you think he would have taken care of that pretty quickly. Yeah.
I mean, you don't always have a need. You don't always have a need to. Like, if you're on a work visa or doing whatever, like, I think you get... Like, I don't think there's really a huge amount of incentive to...
I wonder the time...
If you're already here on a work visa, I don't think it matters.
But I don't think I feel like he wasn't working, like, the last 10 years. Like, I guess if he kept doing... I just loved it because it was, like... Charlotte has, like, the new, like, Comcast layout, which is where you can, like, talk into the remote and just ask it.
That sounds like a hassle.
It was fun. But it's funny because, like,
What if you're trying to use, like, pay-per-view?
Oh my god.
And you're like, Comcast... Boobs. I was gonna say, show me Big Black Cock 4, please.
It'd be like 16. Oh, yeah. I text Taylor a lot because I'll be in, like the high channels, and then with, like, a press of a button, all of a sudden you're in the porn channels, and it's so funny. It's like, slept with the babysitter, 16. It's, like, a ridiculous amount of sequels for something, like... And I was
Do you think it's always, like, the same people? Or is
it like
it's like a series of different people sleeping with different babysitters?
I imagine it'd have to be, like, different people to keep my interest. Like, but maybe it's a really good story. It's, like, a good song.
Yeah? I think you should find out. You should watch it and let me know.
Yeah, I'll get that in the bill. Like, why is this so expensive? Oh, yeah, I subscribed to Porno. For science, okay? Mom, it was for science. I swear I had to test a theory Taylor and I were wondering about.
I had to know if it was the same babysitter and the same dick.
Right? Maybe, like, the kid gets old enough and, like, becomes them.
God.
Well, like, takes over that role. Maybe that's how it sequels. You know, like, the kids grow up and then sleep with more babysitters, and it's like a vicious cycle.
And then they have a kid, and then they sleep with that babysitter now.
I think that must be it. I think it must be so, like, fun / easy to write for porn. You know, like, you don't even, like, you know, they're probably just, like, I can't even imagine, like,
because nobody cares.
They're, like, eating a hot dog. They're eating their
good.
Costco hot dog, just kind of barely writing down sentences.
Yo, don't shit on Costco hot dogs. That stuff is the shit.
No, it is. I'm saying if I was a porno writer, I'd probably just go to Costco, pick up a bunch of hot dogs, and be like, okay, let's write this out real quick. Probably brings it, like, to Costco. And just writes there.
Plus, like, because I'm sure there's not really a lot of dialogue that you need to do.
No,
right?
you know, you have your inspiration hot dogs, and you just, you know, go from there.
You could write a porn about working in Costco.
Right? Giving hot dogs to people.
Right? Well, okay, that's not what I was gonna... That is absolutely not where I was gonna go with that.
You want my sample? That's what Costco would be. Some guy giving away hot dog samples, and it all goes awry.
I was gonna say, you always get... you know... I'm sorry.
Where were you going with this? Let's focus on you.
You know how you always, when you get at Costco, you always get, like, a lot, like, you...
You get it buy in bulk? Is that where we're going?
That's kind of where I was going with it, like you don't go to Costco for just one dick.
Well, there you go, Taylor. We already have our, like, next 4 movies planned out. But you know what would be funny, too? Is it could be all sorts of different things, because a lot of the sample ladies are old ladies. They're, like, 70. No. Should be like, hey, we want to sample. And the guy'd be like, I got some samples for you. You gotta buy in bulk, and like, you know, goes from there.
Oh my god. It'd be like, there'd be like some sort of underlying frat party theme, like, it would be a disaster. And I'm sure people would love
Siri,
it.
how to get into writing for porn?
Ask her. What does she say? What does Siri think about this?
Siri, how do I start writing for porn?
Checking my sources. Here's what I found on the web for how do I start writing for porn.
The first thing, can you write for porn? Part 1. Writing porn for fun and profit. How to write erotica. Oh no, it's like it's like
no.
guides on how to write it.
Man, shout
5
out to
steps to
fan
writing
fiction.
successful erotic fiction. How to create adult movie with pictures. WikiHow. Wow.
Yeah, you find another consenting adult and film yourselves. There you go. Adult movie.
Wow, WikiHow really has everything.
What are the steps? How do you make one? I mean, I have a general idea.
First,
of
you
how to
plan
make
your
one,
concept.
Oh, like storyboarding.
Storyboarding. Consider the logistics. Now that your concept
More like
or
story
common.
whoring, am I right? I'm sorry.
What obstacles might you be able to predict popping up? That's an interesting word phrase for this. Okay.
Is it though? Have you ever really?
Okay.
Is that...
Estimate your budget. Ideally, you have some investors. Okay.
Who's
okay,
gonna invest? Yeah, hey, I'm making a movie about I Bang the Babysitter 25. I'm gonna be an investor.
It's gonna be
Jobs.
big, man. It's gonna be big. Just give me this. You're gonna make 10
Is that
times your profit.
Is it gonna be big, huh?
Is it? Big.
Huh?
See, we would be so good at writing for porn. It'd be so many puns, but like you, the girls would be so hot. You'd have to like you'd be like, oh, that's the worst pun of my life. But look at that girl's tits. That's all mine would be. It'd be like the story would be horrible or funny, but the girls would be so hot, like not your everyday porn girl, like top of the top hotness that you would have to keep coming back.
Is that also a pun?
Coming in the back. Okay, equipment or purchases. You need actors. You need a good location.
I'm so sad.
You need to write a draft. Then you sketch out the storyboard. Hire your actors. Oh, this is a lot. Keep it legal. You need a crew, director. Oh my gosh. Plan
That's
your
too much work.
Build or prepare your set. What the heck? Just make a friggin' home video. Oh yeah, this is the best one. Keep snacks, water, soft drinks, and food available for cast and crew. People get hungry on set, especially after all that physical exercise.
Hell yeah. It's fucking work, man. I'm not saying I've ever done a porno. Alright? Let me get that out there. I am not a porn star. However, if I was going to be a porn star, I would want some fucking pretzels or something at least.
Could you imagine how fun it would be if you were the food crew? It'd be all like hot dogs and corn dogs. Like it would be themed, you know, like I'm trying to think
foods
of
that are vaguely phallic.
Yeah, and you know, like maybe like melons and grapes, you know, and like cherries, you know.
Ew.
That would be all it would be. I'd get fired probably pretty fast, but it would be worth it.
No, it'd be great and very nutritious. You'd get all your food groups. Fucking meat and fruit. Those are the only two food groups.
That's it. Only ones that matter.
Corn dogs have bread, that's one.
That's true. That's true. Eat the stick, you know? Fiber. But yeah, that would definitely that would potentially be a fun job to write or be involved in a porno that wasn't like being in it.
That wasn't like terrible.
Yeah, it wasn't like horrible environment for everyone
Yeah,
involved.
unfortunately, yeah. If only the porn industry wasn't terrible. Just make your own porn industry.
That's where it's at.
Hell yeah.
Hell. But yeah. Oh, so Logan is my friend Logan. I'm sure I've talked about her a few times. She's very small. I've known her since kindergarten. Very like aggressive, and she does like these model
I like how
horses.
her first characteristic is that she's very small.
Oh yeah, so you can like picture her, you know, small, like tiny. And then so she moved to Oregon with her, she's with her grandparents and her mom in one house, and this thing called Briar West is coming to town. So she invited.
I know what that is.
It's like model horses, you know, you win ribbons, you enter things, you buy things. And she invited, I think, 4 grown women into her house to like stay there for, I think, 4 days and all enter their horses.
Are her like people that she, like, lives with aware of that?
I think her grandparents went away for the week, conveniently, but her mom posted something along the lines of so many women, because her mom is not like a girly person, so I think there's just like too much estrogen for her.
My god, that's so funny. Her mom is so funny on Facebook. Marissa sends me like screenshots
Her
of
mom's
this all the time.
Best. Her mom is so funny. Her mom is just like wild. Her mom, she needs to write like a book of her life. Like, it's just like the things she says are just like, what? Anyone else I wouldn't believe it, but because she really just doesn't care enough to lie, you know?
Yeah.
And that's it.
That's it.
That's it.
Oh god. I'm still reeling from the terrible porn puns.
Terrible porn puns.
Hell yeah.
Pornography.
What? Right. Great segue for some.
Oh, my grandpa. Thanks. That's what I'm known for. My smooth transitions. I'm very subtle. But my grandpa was like using the computer. My grandpa was using the computer to look up some comedian he saw on Johnny Carson, and he couldn't get it up. So what happened was he was on the computer.
I'm sorry, that was uncalled for.
On the computer. And my grandma's like bank statement was up or something, so it was like asking him like, are you sure you want to close this page because there's like important stuff on it. And so I went over and I just pressed enter and clicked OK and opened a thing, and he was like, well, how did you do that? How did you close that? And I said, well, it's not really worth me explaining it to you because you're not really going to understand it, and it's probably never going to come up again. And so he's just shouting from the other room, how am I ever going to learn? What did you press? And I was like, I pressed enter. I pressed the button enter, okay? And he's still like trying to figure it out. He's like, I don't see the button. I don't see it. Oh.
My god.
And he gets really quiet. And then you just hear him every couple times he's trying to do the computer. And I've helped him before. It's not like I won't help him, but it's at this point my grandma and I are tired and, you know, just asked me to look it up, and he really wants to. I hear him just going, shit, like every once in a while, because like he closed the page, he wanted to stay open or something. And he's like, why? He's like, Marissa, there's tons of images for this one guy. And I was like, yeah, that's how the internet works. Sorry, because he was trying to find one specific picture from one specific show of Johnny Carson that was on forever ago. I was like, I'm sorry, Grandpa, I can't find that for you.
That's too funny. I don't know if I've talked about it on the podcast, about my grandma and technology, but yeah, like old people dealing with technology is like, it's both endearing and frustrating at the same time. Like, my grandma is I think I've talked about this particular grandma in earlier episodes. She's the one I've previously mentioned that's highly religious. This doesn't actually factor into the story. I just felt like, you know, just connect the two stories together. This is the same grandma. She thinks that when somebody posts something on Facebook, it's shared directly to her if she sees it.
It's such a grandma thing.
And while that is lovely, the comments don't stop. I can't post anything without a comment from my grandma being like, oh, this is so lovely, or like,
thanks for sharing.
I'm like, grandma, grandma, I love you, but like, stop.
I would do anything for love, but I won't let my grandma see my posts.
Well, because it's not like I ever post anything bad. Like, I'm friends with a bunch of my family and shit.
No, but when the first comment is like your aunt or grandma, I feel like it sets the tone for anyone else who's gonna see it and be like, oh, I don't want to comment. You know, Marissa's psychic aunt already said something, and you know, like.
Oh my god. I don't think I mentioned this on the podcast. Did I mention that I got a reading from Auntie Liz? Did I tell that story on the podcast yet?
Oh, I don't think so.
Did we talk about my reading?
I don't think we did. I can't remember now.
I don't think we did, but basically I got a reading via Skype from Auntie Liz. One day, hopefully, I'll get a live on-air reading from Auntie Liz. That's the dream. But, sorry, I'm sitting in a weird position. But, yeah, she, I wish I had talked about this, like, closer to when it happened. Because I wish I could remember, like, some of the stuff that she said.
You're just, like, always vague. She's, like, always, this is, like, the most random stuff.
Yeah, it was, like, honestly, extraordinarily entertaining.
It's funny because she's very, like, she used to be saleswoman. She's very, like, in tune with, like, other people, especially when she's meeting them, and she's very surprisingly, like, persuasive. She's, like, always the best, like, salesperson. But it's funny because she's, like, all talk. I'm like, yeah, I gotta get to the range. She's like, oh, yeah. And then I'm like, okay, I'm gonna call her. And she's like, oh, right now? I don't know. I'm like, yup. I'm gonna force you. I tried to get my grandpa to get a reading with me in Nevada. They have, like, a psychic. I'm like, Grandpa, let's go. And he was like, I don't believe in that. I'm like, neither do I. But he wouldn't go with me.
But yeah, I'm trying to remember what she talked about. Basically, she was just like, it was just like your basic run-of-the-mill psychic shit. Like, oh, you're a very creative individual, and like, you know, all that kind of woo-woo crap. Like, you know, which as I can say,
I think maybe she said
necessarily.
Maybe. You go.
I think I was just gonna say she said like one thing that surprised me, but I don't want to say it on.
Yeah, I was gonna say like she said I don't remember what it was, but it was like one.
You'll remember once I remind you later. But she mentioned somebody specific that I texted about it immediately. But yeah, like I can honestly say
I
that
remember
like I don't
now because I'm not gonna like bring that up to my aunt. So I was like okay, like I was like we're done. Like that was too much.
Yeah, you're like, okay, don't read into this anymore, please, thanks. Just in case. But yeah, I can honestly say that, like, I don't necessarily, like, believe in any of that shit, you know, but, like, I do appreciate it as, like, an entertainment value thing, because, like, I understand there's, like, a value in being able to read people, you know what I mean, like, that's something that's legitimate, you know, people that do sort of psychoanalysis stuff and stuff like that. There is some merit to being able to read people, but, like, that sort of psychic, like, ooh, element of it is just, like, entertaining to
I
me.
know. I'm sure, and like, one in a bajillion people maybe have some kind of gift, but if they do, they're not going to advertise it, you know? If I really was, like, legit psychic, I don't think I'd tell anyone. I would just, like, have it and
plus, because people would think you were full of shit, and B, a freak of nature.
Yeah, anyone who, like,
you'd be like, oh, there's that Marissa talking about the end of the world again, okay.
Yeah, anyone who flat out is, you know, I'm a psychic, you know, you're like, okay. You, like, take it with a grain of salt. You're like, alright, sure, okay, gotta go.
Right? Or, like, oh, do you have the gift? Ma'am, I
can't wrap that up for you, you gotta go. Bye-bye.
Yeah, can't wrap up crazy.
I wish I
could remember, like, I haven't had, like, a lot of experiences with, like, that kind of, like, psychic people type shit.
Jocelyn, my aunt's daughter, she especially hates it, because all growing up, my aunt, I guess, would be like, she's like, my aunt would be like, you like someone, and Jocelyn would reply, no. My aunt would, like, see him, like, oh, it's blue hair, blue eyes, you know, blonde hair, like, this, the most, like, stereotypical guy, you know, ever. And Jocelyn would get so pissed. She'd be like, Mom, like, please, stop with my readings.
That's so funny. Oh my god, could you oh my god, that would be such a good sitcom. Like, growing up, like, it's like a young woman and her mom is like a psychic, and it's like, it'd be like a teen sitcom. It'd be on like old Disney Channel, you know? Like,
oh yeah.
It'd be like so embarrassing. Like, she has people over for a sleepover, but then her mom like accidentally reveals who she likes, and it would just be like, it would be so good. It'd be one of those like middle school.
Or she like hands one of the girls a pad and like doesn't say anything, and all of a sudden the girl's like, oh, you know, gets her period. Like,
oh my god,
that would be the worst. That'd be
like dealing with puberty if your mom is a psychic. Oh, that'd be
your
so
mom like
funny.
knows what's gonna happen. Like, okay, I got you a new bra, sweetie, a training bra. Like, Mom, what are you talking about?
But I feel like that's more gradual. Like, it's not like you wake up one morning and like all of a sudden, like, overnight you grew boobs. Like, I feel like that's less.
Well, that's true, but some people are, like, faster than others.
It'd be even worse once you got old enough that your mom, like, just casually, like, passes you a pack of condoms across the table, and it's like, you're like, what is this? You're like, you're getting laid tonight, sweetie. Like,
be cautious. And then your mom, she stops and she's like...
Yeah, have fun at that party tonight, am I right?
Am I right? And then I feel like she'd tell you, like, oh, avoid the guac, you know, something's not right with it, and everyone gets sick but you.
Oh my god, it'd be the best to, like, avoid food poisoning. Oh, it'd be so funny.
Everyone would think you poisoned the food, though, because you'd be the only one that didn't eat it or get sick.
Well, the thing is you'd have to, like... You'd have to do it ahead of time find a reason not to. Like,
Yeah.
you know, if your mom is like, oh, there's something weird in the food tonight, you like show up saying like, oh my god, I just ate dinner, like, oh my god,
yeah.
what a dumbass, you know, like, and then that way they'll be like, so, you know, like, we all got food poisoning, but that Marissa, she ate dinner ahead of time, how'd she know?
How did she know? That would be too funny. You're like, Mom, should I go out tonight? No, there won't be enough people there. Don't go.
Yeah.
No one shows up.
Right? Outlook says the party's lame.
Yeah, you're walking 8-ball, man.
Be like your mom. Oh my! I was just about to say that. What the fuck?
I mean, my aunt is kind of like round, so she could be an 8-ball. Just saying. She doesn't watch this. It's fine. It's not mean if it's a fact.
Honestly, like, thank God that most people we know don't watch this. Sometimes I, like, live in fear of talking about people because I'm like, oh no, what if one day they're gonna watch our podcast and they're gonna know that we talk shit about them?
I guess it depends who. Like, honestly, like, at this point, if our Snap friend found out, I would be like, okay, well, you know.
I'd be
What
like,
did you
well,
expect?
you know, if the fucking crazy ass shoe fits. I'm sorry that I'm, like, adjusting my camera. I had to move it slightly. And I
Taylor, look,
was
I
trying
have
to
a
make
third
it-
eye.
I can't, like, tell via Skype what that is. Oh my god. Is that put that up to the goddamn camera. Show everybody what the fuck you did.
I have a third eye. I can't really, like... Whoops, okay, well, that didn't last long. I have no idea where it even fell to. Alright, bye. I don't have the power anymore.
Don't you just hate it when that happens?
I do. Oh, man.
God. What?
Oh, man.
I thought you were, well, I heard that. I thought you were, like, saying that in response to something.
Oh. No. I just like to say that a lot.
I just, like, realized I, like, accidentally, like, drank that. You know how you drink something weird and it, like, you accidentally, like, breathe in a little bit of it or something? I think I just did that with this Snapple, and I'm afraid I just made a bunch of, like, gross noises into the mic because I was, like, choking a little bit. That's fine.
How embarrassing, choking on camera, Taylor. What the hell?
Are we going back to porn now, or?
Here, we want to take this, but it's gotta be PG, okay? It's YouTube, okay? You gotta go to a whole other tube.
Well, I'm choking on Snapple, not dick. So it's fine.
Not right now.
How did you know my weekend plans?
Well, if y'all would just FaceTime me, I would know. It's funny because I try to explain people, like making new friends. Like, I like being, like, too close to people, like, uncomfortably close, because it makes me feel like we have a special bond, you know? And so I feel like it comes off, like, people I just meet, like, I feel like it comes off, I come off very strong, so I'm just like too much. I'm like, okay, I'm like, look, it's just like, I like knowing weird things about you. Relax, okay? Haha, here's the time I got my first period.
Relax. My god. Speaking of knowing people with too much like personal information, didn't you say the first time you ever met Molly, that this girl that we used to know in high school, that like the first story she ever, like the first thing she ever told you was like really weird?
Oh, yeah. It was something about, like... Oh, what was it? It was something
I remember
really
you telling
weird.
me that. You were like, yeah, I just met this girl. And, like, the first thing she said to me, it was, like, about her period or about... Which is, like, not that weird. It was something weird.
Oh, yeah. No, it definitely was something about her period. Because I know she was really open about, like, her dad was, like, gay and, like, her mom. Like, I don't know what's going on. But yeah, the first time I met her, I think she told me, like... It wasn't, like, my period story is, like, funny icebreaker. But hers was, like, something that, like, just happened.
Yours is funny.
That, like, just happened to her, like, I forget what it was, but it's, like, something bad, like, just happened to her, like, right then, or, like, the day before, and she was telling me about it. I was like, okay, girl. Sorry.
You're like, I literally just met you. Like, you need to chill. Like,
the first time I met Steven, he just goes, "Are you Marissa?" And I was like, "Oh, who are you?" And he was like, "Oh, like, you're Anne's friend." But it was like so like caught me off guard. I think it was with Maria, and I was just like, okay. I've never met you in my life, but you know me, okay.
that's what the phrase that always gets me is, "Oh, I've heard so much about you." I'm like,
what?
I'm like, what have you heard about me? Like,
could you write something down for me?
Did my friend tell you I'm amazing, or did she tell you I'm a hoe? Like, what the fuck does that mean? Like,
yeah, and that's very vague. There was one. It was weird. Even weirder because there was a girl that was like 2 grades above us. She was like a senior at the time or something. And even she was like, "Are you Marissa?" And I was like, "Who are you?" And she's like, "Oh my, the younger kids talk a lot about you." And I was like, "Yeah, what the hell? Why are they all talking about me?
Fuck? That's
I'm not that
bizarre.
interesting. I don't know anyone, but like 2 people go to school here and I barely even talk to them."
Apparently not.
Apparently
They're talking about you.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. That was like a very weird like month where I was like kind of pseudo popular at a school I didn't go to. It was very strange. Yeah. That got resolved fast.
Did she even go here?
Did she even go here? Yeah.
Oh my god, that's too
Weird.
funny. I kind of forgot about that. I'm trying to think, like... Oh yeah, this girl that Marissa was talking about that, like, first time she ever met her told a really weird story. This is the same girl that I was in, like, a PE class with, and one day we were hanging around, like, not running, because why would we ever run in actual PE class? But we were, like, hanging around, and she goes, "So, I'm going to a party tonight," and this is exactly, like, what she sounded like. She's like, "And I really want to look like a slut, but I don't know how. Like, can you guys, like, help me look slutty for this party?" And I was like,
why are you asking me?
"Are you okay?" Like, yeah, I was like, first of all, I'm 15. Also, you're 15. Get your shit together, okay? But, like, I ain't about to, like, slut shame anybody, but I was like, why are you trying to, like... I was like, why are you talking to me about this right now?
Wouldn't, like, she be slut-shaming for saying she wants to look like a slut? Like, what does a slut even look like?
Right? She's like, "I don't know how to dress slutty." Like, she was like, there was like a group of us sitting around. She was like, "Can you guys help me? Like, what do I wear to look like a slut?" And I remember she said it like that, and I was like, I don't know how to help you. Like,
it was weird because she was nice, but she was, like, too much. And that's weird to me because she was, like, not that pudgy people can't look slutty. I don't even like saying that word. But it's weird because she was very, like, a little pudge, a little round, very round face, super cute, but, if you have, like, your stomach hanging out, like, I don't know if that's, like, the look you're going for, like, I don't know. Like,
I just think that she was confused. Like, I feel like she didn't mean slutty. Like, I think she wanted to look attractive, but she was so conditioned that, like, wearing anything remotely, like, revealing was slutty, and I think that's why it was weird.
It's
because I think oh my god, I wish. I think because I think she just, like, didn't know what she meant.
Probably.
But
she probably just wanted to look, like, desirable and didn't know how to...
I hate saying this because she was a nice girl, but she was, like...
She was a lot.
She was, as Smash Mouth put it, not the sharpest tool in the shed.
Yeah, she was real sweet, but she was so aggressive to be my friend that I had to just, like, really passive-aggressively, like, avoid her because she was like, I can't say, like, "Oh, you're too nice, we don't click," so I just avoided her.
Yeah,
until she got
sometimes, too, I have a hard time, carrying conversations with people that, like, talk too, like, the way she talked was too slow for me. Kind of. Like, I know Marissa and I try not to do this on the podcast because we want it to be, like, you can actually hear us and know what we're saying. But if we're hanging out, we're back and forth like this all the time. And so it's, like, the way that I normally speak, in person, I do it less over things like Skype because sometimes it can be hard to hear me, so I tend to, like, enunciate a little bit more. But in person, the way I speak tends to be a little bit more fast-paced, depending on who I'm with. And talking to her was hard for me because I wanted her to finish her sentence already, please. I was like,
oh yeah.
And it wasn't that, like, because sometimes you're talking and you can't think of the word, and so you kind of pause in between words like that. Like, it wasn't that, it was her actual words would draw on a lot. You know, like, she
that like reminds me when people are trying to
like
they're trying to tell you a story. I know a few people and they try and tell you a story and they make their point already 3 times and they keep talking like this, and I literally have to say, like, okay, like, can we, I don't mean to be rude, like, I like what we're doing, but I already got the point, and then I seem rude just because I'm twitching inside, like, speed it up,
okay,
what are you talking about, what do you want me to know, tell me right now, just spit it out, yell it to me, I'll understand, and we'll move on. Like, tell me, rather you speed it up like that.
I have a problem too, because I'm guilty of doing the thing where I can't quite sometimes think of the word I'm trying to say, and so I'll unintentionally draw my sentence out a lot, and I'll kind of do the pause thing a little bit, just because if I'm forming my sentence as I'm talking. But the real thing that gets me is the part where people have, like, the actual words are slow. I'm like, am I in slow-mo? And it's just because of the way that, like, the speed with which I tend to process things.
Yeah,
so,
it's like when people are usually...
I get distracted mid-sentence because my brain is processing, like, ahead of what she's saying. Like, normally when somebody talks, it's like I'm processing it at the same speed, so I'm keeping up and keeping interested, but if you're saying something too slowly, like, my brain is processing a word, and then I have to take a break that's like a second, and my brain gets tired of, like, my brain gets bored, and so I'm like, she's, you know, telling me a story, and I'm like, what am I gonna have for lunch later? Like, I'm like, ooh, maybe I'll have a corn dog.
Well, it's hard for me because, too, when someone is telling a story or they're trying to tell me something, I already know what they're going to get at. Because then if I cut them off and say, oh, I already know about that, then I seem rude because I don't let them finish. But, it's my biggest pet peeve, especially with people who, will make the point 3 times because they don't think you get it when I already knew what you were going to say before you even opened your mouth. Like... That's when I get that's when I come off very rude, because I'll be like, okay, I'm sorry, like, I love you, I love what you're saying, but I'm already there, I already connected the dots.
A thing that
filled in the bubble.
happens to me sometimes is, like, somebody will tell me, and they'll be like, oh, stop me if, I've already told you this story before, and then they get annoyed when they're talking, I'm like, oh yeah, you told me this already. They're like, what? I'm like, you told me to stop you if I've heard it before, you told me the story already. So I'm telling you that we can move on from this and have a different conversation because we had this one already. Right. Like, I know what you're going to say. I know the moral of the story. Like, I know how it ends. Like, you told me to tell you if I've heard it before. I have. So don't act like I'm some kind of rude-ass bitch for, like, telling you what you told me to tell you. Like, why?
Yeah, it's like now the polite thing to do is let them retell you even though you've heard it, like, 7 times already.
Yeah, I end up doing that. Well, and I try not to, and it's like, even when somebody doesn't say, like, oh, stop me if you heard this before, even when they don't say that, I tend to, like, I want to say, like, oh, yeah, you told me this already, because usually people are like, oh, remember that story that I told you, and then they want to get to the next thing, because there's something related, and I'm like, yeah, you already told me the first story, so you don't have to tell me again. Like, we're wasting time. Like, it's not like I'm always in a hurry, it's just like, okay, you told me that you had something to tell me that's related, like, I'm acknowledging that you're like, so remember how I was like, okay, yeah, you told me that story. Get to the point. I'm like, it's frustrating.
I know, it's frustrating because we seem rude when they're the ones that, like, are...
Yeah. It's like,
just,
and I don't
like, no one's wrong and no one's, like, rude, but, just, like, preference,
it's like nobody's really at fault in that situation. It just, like, ends up coming across like we're being rude or, like, not paying attention or something. When in reality, it's like, no, like, I'm trying to do you, like, I'm trying to help you, because you've already told me this before. I don't know. It's just, it's weird. People are weird, because because I think that's really what it is, like, the reason you're pointing out that you've heard it before is because you're trying to be helpful, and be like, oh, you don't need to go through all the effort of telling this again, because I already heard it. Like, I'm trying to save you 10 minutes.
Yeah, if it's on text, I'll just let them type it out and be like, okay, cool. But if it's verbally, then...
Yeah. Plus, a lot of time if it's over text, like, you don't know that somebody's typing out the whole thing.
That's
until
true.
You get it, and you're like, what is this? Okay, here we go.
But at least you can read it in a second and move on from it. Be like, oh yeah, I remember.
Yeah, sometimes it's helpful to have refreshers, but...
Oh, but I was telling you how Charlotte and I tried the virtual reality, like, thing.
Oh my god, yeah, what?
Because we were walking in Telegraph goes to Berkeley, and they like have all the student stuff, and they had this thing. They had like the virtual reality thing. Like, oh, we want to try it, but the catch was, they were trying to get you not to eat animals. So
was it PETA? Fuck PETA.
I don't think it was PETA, but it was some like student animal thing. And so Charlotte is really sensitive when it comes to like animal abuse and stuff. And so I said, okay, well, let me do it, and I'll see as soon as it gets the graphic, I'll take it off and whatever. So I put it on. It's so weird. I didn't see anything graphic. I took it off. But it's like, I mean, obviously everyone knows how it works. You look around, there you are. But you look down, and there's all these pigs. And there's like a pig in front of me, and it's hard not for me to instinctively just be like, a pig! Like, I just want to reach out, but like there's like a woman in front of me, and like it keeps going for a while. And then once I get uneasy, once I can tell something bad's gonna happen, you have headphones on too. And I didn't know what to do because they tell you only to touch the left part of it. So I didn't want to like ruin anything, so I just yelled, okay, I'd like to take it off now, please, right now. And they're like, okay, girl. And they took it off. I was like, sorry, like I just don't want to see animals being slaughtered. And like you end up feeling kind of dizzy because you look down and there's like a space, where your body theoretically is. So I was starting to feel like dizzy, and it's just like, okay.
I've heard that that's true with like the Oculus Rift fucks people up. I've heard that the Oculus Rift, which for people that aren't, I'm sure everybody that watches the pod probably familiar with Oculus Rift shit, but if you don't know, it's a similar thing where it's like a virtual reality thing. I haven't used it, but I've heard that the Oculus Rift makes people sick because it's hard to cope with that much.
It's like
disorienting if you haven't used it before, and it's disorienting. And but I've also heard that it's funny to watch people do it because if there's something like you're playing a game and there's like a rift, like a pit opens up in front of you, your brain can't understand. Like, you're telling yourself, you're like, no, idiot, you can walk there, that's the floor, but your body won't let you do it. Yeah. It's like so disorienting and weird. Or like if it puts an object in front of you, you're like, you're like a sim, you're like, hello, like I can't walk by here, but it's not there. You could totally walk through it. But I've heard that some of the Rooster Teeth guys were talking about this, that like you're playing a game and you have to look around at something, and they were saying that they're watching somebody do it, and he was walking like around the object looking at it, and they're like, why don't you just go through it? He's like, my body wouldn't let me walk through it. Like, I couldn't make myself do it because it was a thing, right? Because it looks so real.
Yeah, well, even like when I looked down,
your body freaks out.
When I looked down, there was like pigs everywhere, and so I thought like, oh, I don't want to like disrupt the pigs because so I just like froze. I was like, okay, I don't want to. And then I looked down, and there's like a space where my body should be, and then I felt dizzy, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna fall into these pigs. And then it like switched it, so I was like the size of a pig looking up at these people, and that's when there were piglets, and I was like, oh, these are so cute, I'm a piglet. And then one of them had like a little bit of blood wiped on them, and that's when I was like, okay, I'm done, like let me out, I'm trapped, I don't know how to get out of this social reality. And then it's weird too because other people were doing it so I could hear them, and I would just yell because Charlotte was doing it too, and I would go, Charlotte, are you there? It's like, I think she was right next to me, but I don't know really for sure, so I'm sure everyone was just like, okay, girl. And then of course
they do similar stuff with, like, have you ever seen YouTube videos with the 360 camera?
Oh yeah,
that one's cool when you do it on your phone. I like that kind of shit. I have a love-hate with it. I like it on the phone because if it becomes disorienting, I can get rid of it.
Yeah,
but virtual reality seems cool, but I think that I would be one of the people that gets, like, not necessarily, like, freaked out by it, but I wouldn't be able to use it for a prolonged period of time, because it would,
like, a scary game
be disorienting, weird, kind of, like, you know how, like, if you play first person in GTA for too long, it fucks you up, kind of?
Yeah, I
that's how it would be. That's how it would be for me. It's like the kind of people that can't play first person in GTA because it's disorienting and too much movement are the kind of people that wouldn't be able to do virtual reality stuff.
Yeah, I'd only be able to do it, I think, for a long time if it was, like, Viva Pinata or something, like, really, like, you're in a field.
Or if it was just, like,
like a kid game. Kid game would be fun, but anything, like, too intense, I'd be,
You know what I like, though, are, I like the idea of, are those kind of virtual reality things where, like, it just, you can see the stuff around you, it just adds to it.
Yeah.
Like, that's the kind of stuff I would be okay with, because it's, like, part of it is my body, is the reason, like, stuff like that freaks me out, is because, like, it's my body, like, not understanding, like, it's the fact that I no longer know where I am in relation to the stuff around me.
Mm-hmm. And that's why I wanted to hold on to Charlotte to, like, ground me.
Exactly. It's like your instincts don't, like, you freak out and freeze up because it's like, okay, I'm wearing this thing. Like, I know I'm standing, you know, for example, in my room, but, like, I no longer know where the door is, where my desk is. Like, I don't know where anything is. Like, it's your body trying not to kill itself, basically.
Yeah, it's very
it's what's happening. It's like, my body is like, I know you're gonna run into something, you stupid shit, so don't walk forward. Like, but yeah, so, like, I like the idea of the kind of stuff that, like, it adds to it. Like, did you ever see, there was an app, that you could get, somebody from NASA was doing stuff with this, but it was like a card that you would have, and it had like a barcode on it. You would scan it in this app, and it would pop up little models of stuff. So, like, they had one of the Curiosity rover, where you would scan this card in the app, and then it would create a little 3D model of the Curiosity rover. You could zoom in really close, really cool stuff. They had them for other famous stuff too. Like, you could look at Voyager and stuff like that. And so it was cool because you would set it on your desk, and then you could look with your phone around it, all the cool angles. But it was cool because it looked like, when you looked through it, like it was in your classroom.
Oh, that's
because
cool.
You could see the whole world around it. It didn't create like a new reality. It put the Mars rover in your current space, and it was awesome.
Crazy.
It was. I wish I still had it. I'm sure I could find it somewhere if I still had it. But it was so cool. And we would do it, like, you know, you would do it so it would, like, it looked like the little Curiosity rover was sitting in your hand, and you could, like, look around it, and it was so cool.
That's really cool.
Yeah, that's the kind of stuff that I like, where, like, it adds cool stuff to your own reality instead of, like, transporting you somewhere else makes it disorienting.
Yeah. Could you imagine? I'm sure, like, it's like someone's house, I just imagine being robbed. You know, you have, like, your headphones on, you have your virtual reality thing, sit on your couch, and you open, you're like, what the hell? Everything's
you're like,
gone.
oh my god, where is everything?
Like, that would be my nightmare, you know, like, oh my.
I imagine if a robber came in and saw you walking around like an idiot with a virtual reality on, they would probably just leave, because there's too much of a likelihood you're gonna run into them and find out they're there.
I don't know, I would take, like, one thing, like, grab their, you know, TV or Xbox, like, one valuable thing and bail.
Grab the TV that they're probably plugged into. They'll realize immediately you're taking it because their virtual reality turns off.
Well, grab a different one, okay? Maybe they have a bunch of them, I don't know. Maybe they're rich, okay?
They're rich and they have, like, 3 TVs for some reason.
Just, like, in one room. Yes, they do. Taylor.
Yes, this is my TV, this is my husband's TV, and this is my son's TV. We can all watch different shows because we can't get along.
Together. Yeah.
Yeah, we can watch different shows at the same time. Christ.
Yeah, I always wanted to figure out, like, picture-in-picture, but I could never, like, figure out how to do that.
Like, for what?
For TV.
I think it's distracting for me. Like...
Well, I don't do it like, okay, this is a commercial, I'll watch this. Okay, the commercial switch. Like, I'll switch the things or something.
I guess, yeah. Like, I like picture-in-picture for YouTube stuff, because if you're, like, you know, if you're talking about something, you can put a picture of it if it's appropriate, you know, like...
Yeah.
If it's appropriate for the conversation is what I meant, not like you would, you know what I mean. But, you know, like, we're talking about a story where, you know, we did this, and here's a picture of the thing that we're talking about.
I think it'd be cool too. Like, I know in Xbox you can
snap. 2 videos is distracting for me.
Yeah, Xbox you can snap the TV, but it does it in a weird way where it takes up like a whole column on the side to just snap a small screen.
My brother does that with YouTube stuff sometimes.
So it's like, yeah, YouTube, and like it's like in theory I would like it. Like when I'm playing Far Cry and like it's all subtitles because they're cavemen, not speaking whatever cavemen spoke. So I can't, I don't really need the sound, so like then, okay, I put like a YouTube video or like a music, but it's annoying that it can't just be a tiny screen, it has to take up a whole column of my game, and then it's not worth it.
Yeah, because it's not, a lot of times too, is it has to shrink it down proportionally. Like, it can't just cover up part of it, it has to, so it ends up being weird because it has to shrink down your whole screen. Yeah. So you have a bar and then bars because it has to shrink your screen down proportionally, otherwise you miss stuff.
Yeah.
And so it's like you're only using this corner, but you're covering up this, and this, kind of.
Yeah.
Just knocked me.
Yeah, they need to figure out a better way to do that, but...
I'm sure there's some sort of third-party thing that you could use and probably figure it out.
Yeah.
Or you could do what I do and just put your laptop next to you and do it that way.
Yeah, I mean, I do that too, but it'd be nice if, like...
Because usually when I'm playing games and stuff, and I'm, like, listening to other stuff at the same time, it's usually not something that I'm watching extensively. Because it's, like... Because usually if I'm playing a game, I have to pay attention to it, otherwise I'll, eat shit and die or whatever, but if, so if I'm playing a game, it's either music or I listen to podcasts a lot. I don't do it as much anymore because our internet's so bad that I, like, can't play anything, but I used to, like, play Destiny and listen to Rooster Teeth podcasts a lot. And so that's convenient because I just have my laptop next to me because, like, I don't really need the video that goes along with it. Mm-hmm. But if it happens to be something like, oh, we're talking about this and they put a picture, I can look over for a second and then go back to what I'm doing. Like, it doesn't have to be there all the time because I'll watch that instead of whatever I'm doing. And then it's like, okay, I might as well not be playing a game because I'm just watching the video that's sitting in the corner of the screen. I'm like,
True.
Yeah, sometimes I find myself, sometimes I find that I, like, get annoyed with myself if I'm, like, using too many technologies at once. Like, if I'm, Skyping with you, or, like, not even, it's like, oh, I'm Skyping, or, like, I'm watching a video, and I'm doing something with something else, and I'm using my phone. I'm like, I need to figure out my shit. Like, what am I doing?
Yeah, that's why we all have, like, ADD, we're, like, that's our go-to. It's like, I'll have the TV on, let me grab, let me Tumblr, let me text Taylor from my phone, like...
Right, exactly. It's like I don't do this as much here because we don't have cable in our apartment, but I'll do it at home. It's like whatever is on TV is just noise in the background because I'm by myself, and so it's weird when it's quiet. And it's like, okay, I have this bullshit background noise, and then I'm dicking around online is what I'm really paying attention to, but I just like the sound of that. Yeah. And then even if I'm not even doing that, I'm fucking doing something else on my phone. I'm just scrolling and not looking. And that's when I have to step back and I'm like... That's like, oh my god, yeah, play me back. But that's when I have to step back and I'm like, okay, I need to stop for a minute and figure out what the fuck I'm doing with my life because this is too much. Too much.
Talk about disorienting. That's when, like, I'll start to feel like my eyes are hurting. I'll start to feel like stir crazy. Like, I need air. I need to get out of this.
See, I don't get the eyes thing as much, and maybe that has to do with like something about glasses, like your eyesight or glasses or something.
Yeah, I'm sure
I don't get like I don't get a lot of the eye strain.
Well, it's like I feel like screens like naturally tire your eyes out, so like mine are like even more sensitive,
Yeah, and I'm not saying that with any kind of authority, but I've read stuff online that says like
no, for sure,
that the just because it's bright, the way that it kind of can strain your eyes makes you more tired because it's like something about the way that it's bright and your eyes have to work harder to look at it because it's harder to look at than things that are naturally lit, kind of. So I think is the reasoning there. So it makes it so that you get tired more easily when you're looking at stuff like that because your eyes are working harder.
Yeah.
But I'm sure that also has to do with the fact that stuff on screens is always, like, craziness happening. Like, like, if I'm on my computer, it's like I'm watching a video or doing whatever, like, that's going to make me more tired than looking at, than reading, where it's, like, static. Not, it's like... I think that might have something to do with it. Hell yeah!
Nice. Mine's at the last, like, battery thingy, but I don't know how long that's, like... It should still be, like, a little while.
Yeah, as long as yours is one recording, it'll be fine and I can make mine work.
Cool. I just don't want mine to die.
Yeah.
I don't think it will, though. Don't die.
For those that are not aware, I'm talking into the camera now because I'm addressing the audience. Ooh. But fucking, just staring at the camera essentially. But we're trying a different way of filming this time. Last time went so fucking well. Where we're actually both using like cameras to record. In hopes that the quality will be better. Which, it's YouTube, so whatever, but in hopes that we'll be able to have better sound capture stuff, because I don't know if you guys noticed that at the end of the last podcast, the audio and video got out of sync. And I have to admit that, like, I could have gone in and fixed it, but I spent, like, 5 hours, 6 hours trying to edit that video, which it was less than 2 hours. And So at the point where the audio and video started to get out of sync, it wasn't for any reason other than that it was just it's too long of a recording with a low quality recorder. So I guess this is a common problem with the program we were using. So it ended up being that the audio and video just naturally got out of sync after that long, after recording for an hour and a half. So basically there was a workaround that I could have done where I would have had to separate the audio from the video within the editing program and then resync them up. But admittedly, the reason I didn't do that is because I'm a lazy sack of shit and I didn't want to deal with it anymore. So that's why that's like that. So if people watched it and thought there was something wrong with your computer, it's not your computer, it's us. It was just the program we used for recording was not something we should have used to record. I should have known that. It wasn't super good quality. But hopefully this time will be better. And if this works well, we could do this in the future. More. My nail just got caught.
Yeah, we will see.
Yeah, we'll see about that. But yeah, I just wanted to throw that out there. So if you see weird arm motions and shit, it's because my camera is up here, but Marissa's down here. So if I'm fixing things with that's what's going on over here, is it's the camera.
Yeah, me and then Taylor.
Yeah, so what are you doing with your hand?
I'm waving at you, hey Tay. When I'm looking at them, so they know I'm waving to you.
I thought you were doing some sign language thing. I was like, what are you doing? I was like, what are you doing?
Oh man. With that the way the sun's hitting your hair, it looks like you're that annoying lady we hate on TLC who dyes one streak gray.
Oh my god, the what not to wear lady? Fuck
oh
her.
yeah, I hate that lady.
Okay, here's the reason.
Love luster
I'm getting heated about this. I apologize for everybody. I keep resting my arm. I'm sitting on my bed. My headboard is right here. I don't know if people can see that or if it's gonna stay in the video. My fucking headboard is right here, and I'm sorry I keep resting my arm on it, but I don't have anything really to lean back against unless I'm way back here. So I'm sorry. I'm gonna be casual and lazy and an asshole.